occurs in us, I believe, where you get to a certain point, not necessarily a breaking point, but like a boundary for yourself,
Mm,
your self-worth.
yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
that's it,
I
setting
see
this
that.
boundary
Yeah.
now, and you go through that. And sometimes there's no notice about what it's going to take for us to get there. But I know I've been reminded a couple times before I was able to just set my self-worth boundary for myself about doing certain things or not continuing to do things with wellness, fitness, a lot of different things in life. So
Well, I mean, I definitely, like, struggled with my eating disorder, like, I would be like, "Oh, like, I'm never gonna do this again," or, "I'm never gonna," like, I would eat a lot, and then I'd be like, "I'm never gonna do that again," and then I would just, do it again because I was restricting too hard, and eventually, yes, like, I see what you're saying, like, eventually you just get to the point, though, that you're like, "I don't wanna be living like this anymore, like, this is miserable," you know? But I'm saying that once you kind of make that decision for yourself once that boundary is crossed, okay? Because yes, we do have rebounds. We're people, we're humans. Sometimes, it's not going to be, because if that were the case, nobody would have an eating disorder, because the second that you started restricting or have anorexia, the second that you started restricting, you'd be done. Or the first time, if you binge eating disorder, the first time that you binged, you'd be like, okay, never again. So that's not how these things necessarily work.
right.
But I think once you overcome that eating disorder, once you overcome something to, I mean, this could be tied into relationships, into so many things. Once you decide, okay, this is my boundary, this person is done, or this behavior that I'm partaking in is done, then you have to be done with it. You have to 110% fully be done with it, because that's going to serve you the best at the end of the day. And you've been there, done that. Like with my eating disorder, it's one of the things that I really want to focus on in my life, and is definitely something that I feel like is part of my purpose in life, is to spread the message that eating disorders don't have to be a life sentence or something that you struggle with the rest of your life. And that's something that so many people would say to me, even, or just that would be the narrative when I was going through my eating disorder. I found that super discouraging, and I'm so happy and thankful that that's not my case. And so I want to be a voice for other people that are going through something like this, to know that this doesn't have to be your life forever. And I feel like part of the reason, though, that I was able to get to this point where I'm not tempted to slip into eating disorder thinking or eating disorder behavior, and I genuinely love myself and my body, is because I got sick of it. And I was a hard boundary for myself. I'm not doing this anymore. And I was able to also step outside of it. When I was going through my eating disorder, a lot of it was in my adolescence, or my
Right.
22 younger 20s, and like my
Right.
teenage years. And then I got my real, my first real job, I mean, like a full-time, out of college, out of school job. And I think that that was a big catalyst, looking back, for me to think,
Right.
okay, are we going to continue my life? Are we going to try to have this adult life with an eating disorder? Or are we
Mhm.
going to be done with it? And I think that that was part of it. And I feel like once you got to draw a boundary with yourself, and you have to realize what's most important to you and what do you
Right.
want your life to look like. And I think no matter what, every single day, no matter what you've been through, every single day, have some sort of, what do I want my life to look like? Because if you don't have a plan,
Right.
your life is just, it's just going to be luck. It's just, or not luck, but it's just going to kind of happen, right? You have to be strategic. You have to be strategic, and you have to have in mind your goal, because anything worth having, or anything that you've accomplished big in your life, chances are there were
Right.
some steps that you took
Right.
along the way to achieve that.
Right. Well, I'm